What is up, everybody, and welcome to Pro Picks, a 10-minute talk all about picks of the pros. And joining me today is Mr. Paul Neess, the Neess as we call him, and he's going to talk to us all about his picks, his kit for a 10-day sheep hunt. Now, oftentimes on the podcast, I'll intro it and I'll say, helping me, unpack this topic. We are literally going to unpack this topic Paul.
We can definitely do that. Yeah, this duplicates a hunt I had about 2 years ago up on the Kenai Peninsula of Alaska. That particular one was a caribou hunt, not a sheep hunt. But for all practical purposes, we were in sheep country doing the same thing. The one thing I'll say, a 10-day solo hunt is pretty ambitious. So there's a lot of stuff in here. This is a pretty heavy pack. This weighs about 65 pounds total. If you were hunting with a buddy or even two buddies, better yet, you would be able to take some weight off of this. And we'll cover that as I get into it. But for example, I can't share a tent in here with anybody else. I can't share a cook stove. I can't share cooking gear. So you're carrying everything for your camp in here, but it's going to cover it. Mark, you could take this pack, you could throw it on your back. You could hoof out in the hills right behind the building, and you could live for 10 days off of that. Paul, you might not want to in December right now. But,
Paul, I could barely get it on the table. But no, like you said, it's heavy. But like you said, that's a really good point. If you're hunting with multiple people, you're going to be able to split some of those things up. And as we get in here, a lot of that weight is food.
It is.
The more days you spend, the more food you got to bring.
And it's a big chunk of the volume in there, too, as people see as I pull everything out of the inside of that. Yeah.
Well, I guess without further ado, let's get started. Let's tear into this thing.
Okay, let's get going. What I'll do, I think I'll work on the outside of it first, just because there's a few things that are obvious. I run one belt pouch on the belt. On the other side, I use a Kifaru gun bearer. We'll touch on that later. That's where I hang my rifle. In the belt pouch here, what I would typically load in here, just a couple of things. I usually prefer to carry my laser rangefinder, which is this. This is one of our Vortex rangefinders. I can give everybody a sneak peek, but this is something that's new and coming out this year, so I won't get too detailed on it. And I carry a spare pouch of ammo in here. Just nice and handy. This is just a quick, easy carrier. I've got 10 rounds. That's all the ammo I carry besides what would be in the gun hiking up.
Gotcha.
So we'll set that off to the side here. You can see I've got the tripod slung on the side. Pretty easy. It's a good place to carry them. I'm going to pop that off here. We'll just loosen the straps.
Now, I noticed you went with the full length, too. I carry the Summit Carbon 2 a lot.
I did.
This is to a standing height.
This is our Ridgeview Carbon. Over the years of, and a lot of it's from hunting down in Arizona, I'll have to say I've really gotten to like standing behind a tripod and glassing. And this is only slightly heavier than the Summit. It's a little bit, but not much. But it gives me that option to stand up, and I find that very comfortable. Users may notice I have swapped the head out. I sacrificed a little bit of weight. I'm running one of the Outdoorsman's pan heads on here. Very nice, smooth head. It's an expensive little head, but it does, if you glass a lot, it's very quick and smooth. It uses an integrated dovetail to their Bino adapter, which is why I've got that on here rather than our Pro Series adapter, but it really runs the same way as our Pro.
Gotcha.
But it is an upgrade on the head. It's really a nice, light, small, compact, smooth head.
Good system.
Pull that guy out of the way here.
I do have to ask, and by the way, full disclosure, like I said, we got a lot to unpack here, so we said, welcome to a 10-minute talk.
10 minutes is going to be tough.
Welcome to, it's not going to be a 10-minute talk.
I'll try to move quickly here.
Quick question, though, Paul. So you carry the rangefinder in your belt pouch. Do you ever transition that to your bino harness, or do you kind of keep it in there most of the time?
As we get into bino harnesses, I probably buck the odds and do something a little bit different from what a lot of people like to these days. I prefer really small, light, trim bino harnesses. I think I've got one of Stone Glacier's here that I'll show later.
Okay.
But very minimalistic. It's tight, it's small, it's not bulky. As I think we talked about in an earlier talk here, I almost always am hunting with the pack on. Almost never do I have the pack. And so it's usually if I get to camp, this pack will be emptied out. It'll be tightened down, so it's a much, much smaller looking than it is right here. This pack weighs about 6 pounds total with the frame.
Which one is that one, Paul?
It's 7,200 cubic inches. I forget the exact model. It is the biggest pack that Stone Glacier does.
Okay, gotcha.
And there's only a slight weight penalty as you get into the biggest sizes. So this is only maybe a half a pound heavier than the next one below it, and so forth.
It really is just a little additional fabric. You think like, oh, it's so much bigger, it's going to be way heavier. It's like
same frame, everything. And if you want to do this type of thing, you just, I'm maxed out on this pack. I really couldn't get much more in there. It's about as small as you could go to do this kind of thing. So let's dive into a little bit of the outside here. I'll release some packs. So on this pack, the outside here, we've got, slide that.
Here, I can get it this way a little bit.
There you go. That's good. One outside pouch. What I like to do on this is I carry my rain gear in here. So this is a full set of rain gear stuffed in here, a piece of rope. This is, anytime I want to be able to get at this stuff without any issues of digging in the pack. If I'm hiking, it's starting to turn to rain, I want to be able to get right at this. So that's what I use this here for. I do carry rope with me. I've had some interesting experiences using this paracord rope. It's very lightweight, handy. It's something that I've pulled pieces of meat up cliffs with it. I've tied tents off. In high wind, so easy to carry and a nice little addition to put in there.
I know, how many feet is this that you're keeping with you here?
That I couldn't tell you. That's probably a little bit more than I would usually take with me. That happened to be a new bundle I had. I would probably typically take about half of that.
Gotcha.
on a hunt like this.
Gotcha. I think I generally carry about 50 feet. And then I was chatting with, I think it was Ryan Lampers. He's like, oh, no, dude, you need a minimum of 100 feet. I'm like, oh, okay, good to know. I will say, also, you're talking about keeping your rain gear here at the ready. And when we were talking in pre-podcast, we were pre-podcasting, this pack is loaded as you would load it for hunting. So it's not, you didn't just willy-nilly shove everything in there.
Right. I tried to do this as I would realistically head up the trail with it.
Yep. And I mean, that's a good spot for the rain gear. If you don't have it on, you don't want it buried in the bottom of your pack.
Yeah, you always want to have that handy. And so just nice, I run high end, these are Arc'teryx pants, a Kuiu top, just nice, high quality. In the jacket pocket, I'll typically have a pair of light, warm rain gloves, and just keep them in that jacket pocket so I know where they're at. It's that's one of Kuiu's.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yep. So we'll take this stuff. I'll just set that down by the tripod here, and then what I'll do is I'll go into the top pouch here, which is a lot of small knick-knack stuff that I typically keep handy. Toilet paper, very important. Always want to keep that handy.
Absolutely. I
typically like to use a phone scope adapter with my spotting scope.
Okay.
So I keep a phone scope adapter. This I'm sure your viewers are familiar with the phone scope adapter. It connects onto your cell phone. I can put that onto a spotting scope, and a lot of times if I have, it gives me a little extra oomph in evaluating images through a spotting scope. So I can take a picture. If I'm just not feeling good clarity visually, I can zoom that on my phone, pull it up, but a lot of times you can get more resolution out of your spotting scope by using this.
No kidding.
So it's a very, very valuable tool to have.
I did not know that. So what types of things are you looking for? We're getting kind of more of the tips and tactics.
Well, this would be typically hunting. I mean, you're looking obviously probably at very distant animals where that comes in handy, but you're trying to evaluate antler size and horn curl and all those things hunters are looking for. You're trying to evaluate maybe if it's far enough away. Is it a buck or is it a doe even? Mm-hmm. Just stuff like that. But these give you the ability, again, by putting that image on your phone to expand the image and get more detail out of it.
Yeah, like you said, this is, this whole system that you have here. I mean, this could be for a 10-day, really any 10-day mountain hunt, but we're talking kind of in, sheep specific, and when you're talking evaluating an animal, that's not like, oh, is this a big one or one that I want to shoot?
Right.
This is this a legal ram?
It's even more critical, right? For example, if you were hunting sheep in Alaska, you have to be very careful that you're meeting their minimum standards for horn curl. Mm-hmm. And there are states here in the U.S., Montana, for example, there's a minimum horn curl that you have to hit. Mm-hmm. So that becomes even more important, other than just trying to ensure you're going to take a nice trophy. You may have to be sure you're hitting a minimum legal size to do it. So again, that will help you do that by putting that behind your spotting scope and taking those images and then expanding the images. And sometimes you can see stuff that you missed visually as you're quickly watching an animal move. So
for sure, and that could translate over from sheep to you could be on a moose hunt where it needs to be 50 inches wide, or potentially a
like
brow
that.
tine restriction.
Right.
You might be on a mule deer hunt where there's maybe it's a management hunt and you can only shoot a 3-point or something like that.
And not to mention just the pure satisfaction of taking nice, really clean, sharp images of wildlife through your spotting scope. I mean, those things do a magnificent job. So
I mean, one of the best parts of the hunt is the memories, and that's going to help you capture them.
Yep, absolutely. What else have I got in here? I carry an Inreach. Your user's probably familiar with that. So this is a satellite communicator. Basically, it works with your cell phone. You don't even need a cell phone on this particular model. But you can. It basically gives you the ability to call for help if something bad happens. It's got a GPS system in it, and you can do some minor mapping. But the primary reason you carry one of these is for that SOS button. And if you're hunting solo, you'd really be foolish not to use it. In my younger days, I hunted all the time solo without this kind of thing, and these days I wouldn't consider doing it without it.
No.
So it's almost a must-have in my opinion for.
And then with this, you can communicate on the mountain with other people that have an Inreach as well.
You can.
Correct?
Yep. If you all share Inreach subscriptions, you can go back and forth with each other, and you can. The nice thing here is you can send texts through a satellite system. So if you want to keep your family updated on your position, you can just periodically send and receive text through it. So yeah, it's very slick. It's a nice product and invaluable.
It's cool. I've got the mini version.
Yep.
And kind of maybe like you, Paul, I only got it this year, and a lot of it was like, man, we said this in a previous podcast, I've been rolling the dice, like literally just rolling the dice.
Yeah,
I'm like, that's not a good idea.
The minis are great. I bought this many years ago. The mini, it's about half the size of this thing. So it's smaller and lighter. You can save a couple of ounces with the mini one. Yeah.
The other thing I like about this probably has a similar system, I'd imagine, but the mini comes with a little carabiner. I just clip it to my bino harness there. So
you can do that with this thing too.
Yeah. And then I always have it. It's on the outside. I can get to it
right there.
So yeah, pretty cool system.
Yep. All right, I'm going to keep digging in here.
I'll point out, like I said, we gave a full warning. We're not through the top lid yet, and we're at 2 minutes over.
We've got a ways to go. Yep. I'll cover my water systems in here. I do carry an Nalgene water bottle with me. Mostly for in fact, I do like drinking out of these, but there are many times if I'm getting water from a small seep or trickle, having a wide mouth like this that I can bury down in the ground and catch water makes it easy. A little bit on the heavy side, not too bad, but obviously very tough, well built.
They're pretty indestructible.
You can see I typically spin a few wraps of tape around mine. I'll have some electrical tape to cover the muzzle of the gun for rain and snow, a little bit of duct tape, which there's always some reason duct tape will come in handy for you.
I'll point back to a previous podcast where we did on taping your muzzle. So check that one out. Hey, Paul, is this the glow in the dark one?
I think it is. Yeah, I believe it is.
I don't have the glow in the dark one. I could see where that might be handy when you're in your tent trying to find your water bottle.
Maybe so. Yeah. I carry a bipod in the top of the pack, so it's handy. Usually when I've got the rifle in the pack, I don't have the bipod on there. I run the Spartan Javelin system, which is just a magnet mount. We can show that when I pull the rifle out, but it's extremely fast to hook up to the rifle. But I just assume when I'm hiking with it, I just assume not have it on there. It also comes with some extension legs, which are in the pack, so you can run a longer leg off of it. But small, light, very, very nice, high-quality product.
Definitely a minimalist bipod for sure.
Yep.
Like I'd say minimalist, but like big performance,
Just a few other odds and ends in here. This is wet wipes, goes with the toilet paper.
Pretty self-explanatory. But not to be overlooked.
I do carry a rifle that's capable of some quite long-range shooting, so I do use a Kestrel product. This is just a very nice, it's a weather meter. It'll obviously read all the weather conditions for you, but this one will do ballistics. So I can use this to calculate ballistics on long shots. They run a AA battery. The battery life is great on these things. They light up well. I normally wear reading glasses. This screen lights up, nice big letters. It backlights. It's easy to read. So I don't anytime these days, If I'm out and there's possibility of long range shooting, I've got one of these things with me. And just a couple other little odds and ends in here. I carry my headlamp in there. So just this is there are all different models of headlamps out there. This is one from Black Diamond. It's rechargeable, though I rarely use the rechargeable batteries. Again, one of those things you kind of want to keep handy. You don't want to have that buried down in your pack. You want to be able to get at it quickly. What else did I have in here? A couple other things. I've got toothpaste, that. I carry one very lightweight sharp knife, titanium. Use it for, any little odds and ends. It's primarily for caping, but having a knife handy I don't carry a whole lot of knives. A little bit of lip balm. And lastly, I do carry, this is a very lightweight rope to hang a food bag. And when I have this much food, one of the things I would possibly consider is splitting this food in half and caching half of it somewhere at a lower elevation. It's just a lot of weight and a lot of food. This gives me the option to, if I want to ditch half the food, hang it in a tree, I can do it. So that pretty much covers what I've got in the top pouch. Let's dive into the main body. So we're looking at, right here we're looking at the top of the pack. And what I like to do there is I want to keep the light crushable stuff up on top of this. Mm-hmm. And so what I've got is this is some of the food that I'll bring along. These are just very light. Typically they're not part of my food bag. They're here in the top. They're quick. When I get to where I'm going, these things will go back in the food bag, but the food bag is sitting down here right now. It's got some stuff on top, so I'm just trying to save some of this stuff from getting crushed. These are obviously ramen noodles. These are something I typically will use for lunch during the day. I'll break these in half, eat half of one in a cup. Very quick, easy, just boil some water. I'm not going to try to get into all the calories per ounce on this stuff right now. Generally, what I've tried to do as we look at the whole food bag here is I've averaged about 120 calories per ounce.
That's good.
It's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, you can go up to 200 on things like olive oil, and there's a few other that are way up there. But averaging 120, not bad. It's probably typical if you're buying sort of backpack intended food, what you're going to do. Banana chips, just dried, nice, tough. Same thing. This I would take maybe an ounce out of this every day. And what I usually do for lunches is I'll show this later. I have a small amount of Ziploc bags. Each day I just make up a lunch bag. I take it with me. Some people like to pre-make all their lunches, have them all ready to go. That works too. It's a way to do it. I like to run bagels and peanut butter. I prefer these thin cut bagels. They're just, this is like you can see the size of it. And they don't crush and they don't take up so much room. Yeah. And you can still, you can cheese, meat, peanut butter, whatever you want to put in there. But this sort of makes up kind of my primary lunch thing is a bagel and peanut butter usually.
Yeah, I've been running the full sizers, Paul. I didn't even know these were a thing.
You got to look for them, but you can find them. I mean, guys will run tortillas. I used to use big full-size bagels, but they're big, they're bulky.
Right.
I don't necessarily want to eat that whole big bagel all the time. These are thin. It just works better for me.
Yeah, I like that.
Yep. And let's see what have I got here. I carry a Sawyer squeeze water filter with me. It's a tried and true product. Guys have used it for years. It's the mini model. I do carry the whole thing of accessories with me. I was just on a hunt in Colorado. We were taking some terrible water. I had to use the back flushing thing constantly to clean it out. So you can gamble and just take this if you want, but this is the whole pouch is very lightweight. There's not much there. You've got a couple water bags in there you can use, and I'll show you. I hook this onto a water bag and I can sort of remotely filter. So I'll show you that part of it when it comes.
Gotcha. One thing to think about. So this is a great system. I've used this a lot myself. But if after you've used it, once it might have residual water
I know
in
what you're
there,
going to say. Very good point.
If it freezes, it can compromise that.
Yep.
So either only use it in warmer weather hunts where it's not going to freeze.
Keep it in your sleeping bag at night.
Yep. Or be mindful of maintaining it throughout the hunt.
That's a very good point. You do have to watch that. Yeah. If they freeze, you're going to have to thaw them out, and you can damage the internal filter in there. So yeah, you do want to avoid that.
But I mean, very fly. I mean, like it looks like, oh, you got all this stuff in there. This is
it doesn't weigh much.
Very little. Yeah.
And most of the weight is the filter itself. The back flusher, the tubes and stuff. It's almost nothing. just a very lightweight plastic cup. That's my primary cup. You know, take
How
it
long
for
have
lunch.
you had that? How long have you had that cup for, Paul?
Many years. It's a collector, but of course extremely light, tough. I've tried the titanium cups, which are very light, but then you always burn your lips on them. So just a light plastic one works pretty good. I'm a big fan of the MSR stoves. This model is called the Reactor, and I'll tell you why. It's not the flyweight stove. You have a typical, propane or isopropane container. This is the stove itself. It's got, it's a dedicated system, sort of like the jet boils where they heat up really quick. But the reason I like this stove is this stove, the Reactor, is an incredible stove. This is probably the fastest water boiling stove of any of the little ones. It's phenomenal. It's just, it's referred to as a nuclear reactor. It puts out an incredible amount of heat. So the thing I like about it is system like this. I'm not packing a wood stove or anything in here. This is just it's a TP tent. There's no way to heat it. This stove, though, this thing cranks out so much heat. It'll heat this little TP tent up very quickly. Now I'm going to have one extra fuel bottle in here. You don't want to carry a ton of fuel, obviously, with you. But on a very cold morning, if you run this thing a few minutes longer, my tent gets nice and warm in there. So it works really well. And as I said, it pays for its size and its weight a little bit in how fast it boils water, because it'll use less fuel than some of the little tiny stoves.
Mm-hmm.
So give or take, some guys will feel this is a little big, a little bit heavy. I've had great luck with them. I trust it. It's something that I see it as almost a lifesaver under the right conditions. It's just a very, very good system, and I highly recommend the Reactor.
Like you said, I mean, that's almost pulling double duty there as far as having a heat.
It's
not something you're going to burn for hours every day.
Right. That is the way I look at it. Yeah. I mean, I have tiny little, little foldable, teensy tiny little stoves, and they work great. But this thing, there's no open flame, there's no worries about wind. It's just, in a lot of ways, it's the best there is in this type of product. Big thumbs up for that product.
I oftentimes skip breakfast in the morning, Paul, but on a cold day,
You might
have to make some breakfast.
Cup of coffee or hot chocolate or something. Yeah. So this is it for spare clothes that I take, believe it or not. This, besides what I'm wearing, and we'll touch on that, this is the extent of all the spare clothes that I take with me.
And I think I would note it's in a little lightweight waterproof dry sack.
It is in a dry sack. Yep. I want to keep this stuff dry. Very, very limited. I've got a somewhat heavier merino shirt here. I've got I like the silk socks. I do carry couple pairs of silk socks. I carry one extra pair of heavy wool socks. Carry an extra pair of underwear.
I just do that at work.
A warm hat, a merino neck gaiter, and what else have I got in here? I have to give a big shout out to KUIU for this product. These are their long johns with the zip offs on them.
Okay.
These are a phenomenal product. Anyone, if you haven't used these, buy them. I'll guarantee you they're the best thing. You do not have to take your boots off. You can take these things, usually what you'll do is, if it's a cold night, I might even wear these at night. But as the day warms up and you're hiking and climbing, you can just drop your pants. You don't have to take your boots off. These zip off and poof, they're gone. They're a phenomenal product.
It definitely eliminates that conundrum where you get up in the morning and you're like, I really want to have my long john bottoms on right now, but do I just gut it out for the first few hours?
Right. And you've done it too, where you get up, you're climbing, you're starting to get hot, you're starting to sweat. You should be starting to peel out of clothes. You don't want to get soaked in sweat. Long johns can be kind of a pain in the butt. You got to sit down or unlace your boots, find a place to sit down. These things I can do it standing up on my boots, and they're off in a couple of minutes. So big thumbs up on that one. What else have I got in here? And then just the bottom of this. These are lightweight game bags.
Okay.
KUIU, Caribou Gear, number of them making very, very thin material. This is enough here to any sheep deer size critter will fit in here. So
gotcha.
And I do also have a down puffy coat that is in with my sleeping bag. That's in here too. It's just in a different dry sack.
Compartment.
So we'll take that down. One small bag of accessories. So this is what some guys might call a kill kit. I sort of combine everything. This is some basic medical stuff, bandages, scissors, tape. My cleaning knives are in here. my hunting license, a little bit of fire starter. I mean, these are just small accessories. Extra lighters. I'm always going to carry lighters with me. What have I got here? A Javelin style knife with extra blades. I've got them in an old Leatherman case here, but it's I've got blades and a knife in here.
Gotcha.
Pretty much what I mostly use to cut critters up. I really don't carry much of a heavier knife. You saw the one. I have one
little
very
fixed
light
blade
fixed blade knife here. I'll have that, but that's about it for knives. So very small, very light. If you had to, a guy could cut up an elk with this thing. And as I said, some fire starter, pyro putty. I wear contacts, so I've got extra contacts in here. I've got a mirror to put contacts in. Basic, very small, little lightweight med kit. Hunting licenses. I put all that little kind of knick-knacky stuff like that in this bag and carry it. So
everything to cut up an animal and fix a cut.
Not a bad. You've got when you anyone who's used a Javelin, sooner or later you manage to stick yourself really well with those things. So yeah, you've got some way to tie it up right there and cover it up.
Muck and Hearn always likes to joke. One day I came in from hunting. I don't know, I think it was just whitetail hunting here anyway. I managed to, which I love the Javelin, or I've got a little Gerber that's very similar. Use them interchangeably, but I came in, I had like 3 bandages on my fingers, and I came in, go, I'm off the Javelin. It's but you got to be careful with that thing.
You have to be very careful. I would caution anybody, but it's extremely easy to cut yourself, and you can give yourself a really bad cut. So use caution on those things.
It works good, sometimes a little too good.
Yeah. Kind of last of the small stuff. This is a very lightweight tarp that I carry with me. You can see it's almost nothing. I forget what it weighs. It's under a pound. But that's a 2-man tarp. I can put it up. That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. Yep. I use that. I would run with my walking sticks to put up, but this goes out with me every day. This is not, this is travels with. If I'm out all day, I get caught in crappy weather. I can stay under. If I had to spend the night, I could spend the night under this thing. Very small, easy to carry.
So if you were, like, let me say, I'll paint this, like, you get to where you're hunting, you probably dropped some of this food at your camp.
Yep.
You've put up your shelter, which this is the Hyperlight, which looks like a really, really cool shelter. I've looked at it online before.
Very nice. Yep.
But you're going to break that down every day and bring it with you then?
This will not. This I have a larger tent in here. So this is basically you in a pinch you could use this as a tent, but this to me I carry it more as a survival shelter.
Okay.
Most of this stuff, the water filter, the stoves, my big tent, sleeping bag, all that I'm going to park in one place at least for several days, and then I'm going to range out from there. And I might range out overnight. I could be, and this is always with me. If I have to spend the night, I've got a way to do it. If I'm out and it rains all day long and I want something to get under, I don't want to hike all the way back, maybe drop 2,000 feet to wherever my camp is. I've got this with me at all times. So it's kind of a survival thing.
Well, and that's a survival shelter, not just for you. Like if you're hunting with somebody.
2 guys could fit under this thing, yeah. And I'll say, I mean, these are very, as you said, they're very nice. They're very expensive. It's not, you don't have to go out and buy something like this automatically. They're all kinds of nice, high quality, lightweight tarps, probably less bulky than this. But having some sort of a tarp with you is just, it's, I would say, especially in Alaska, but really in most of the Mountain West too, having a tarp is just a great idea. Wind, rain, snow, if you've got overnight, it's kind of a basic piece of survival gear. So This travels with me all the time. All right, I'm gonna get into the primary food bag. So as I pull this out of here now. So again, I've got this in a dry sack. This, along with this is 10 days worth of food. This is, it's about a pound. It's about 16 pounds of food. It's about 1.5 pounds a day. Runs out to, if you did the math, it averages about 120 calories per ounce. So it gives a guy just under 3,000 calories per day. You're not going to gain weight on this diet, I'll tell you. You are going to burn more than that in a day if you're hiking. For a guy my size, just a basic caloric requirement to just maintain is about 2,000 calories. So this is, it's pretty Spartan. It's pretty Spartan, but you're going to get by. And is, we could go in food, it's a whole topic all onto itself. But this to me is pretty typical. This is going to be sort of classic backpacking food. We can run through it here quickly.
Let's just poke around there a little bit. Now, is this bag that you have it in? Is this what you'd hang it into if you decide to hang some of it?
Yeah, I could split this. I could hang it. Usually, I'll carry 2 of these bags. If I want to divvy it and leave half someplace, I can do that. What I like to do on these is, and again, everybody has different ways of doing this. I prefer to separate my stuff out into breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Other guys like to go ahead and make up an entire day's individually bagged.
That's what I've personally done before, and it just kind of helps me monitor where I'm at. And it's today's food, tomorrow's food.
Everybody has different ways of doing this sort of thing.
Inevitably, there's like some candy bar that you like more than the others, so maybe you dip into tomorrow's today.
Yep. So this, I'll try to, this ends up being, as far as like an individual piece of stuff, this bag ends up at about 16 pounds. It's kind of the heaviest thing in the pack. So as I pack this, I want to pack it up off the bottom, kind of in the middle of the pack, and I want to try to keep like the heavier parts of it near my back and out. And so these 3 bags are kind of breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but there's definitely a difference in weight. My heaviest bag by far and away is what I call my lunch bag. And that would be this bag, and this is just an assortment of different things I might carry. As I said, I would typically bust one of these in half, take half, and I
that's the
keep
ramen.
A bunch of Ziploc bags with me. I'd eat half of these a day. This can go into a cup, a little bit of boiling water. It's an awesome lunch. It takes a couple minutes to do. I carry lots of drinks that I can mix during the day. If I want them, I have them. If I don't want them, I usually will have primary food would be stuff like peanuts. I would typically eat maybe, this would be 10 days, so 5 days. As I make lunch, as I do it, I reach in, I grab a handful, not precise, but squeezed peanut butter goes with my bagels.
Okay.
So that, again, there's 10 days worth in there, about an ounce a day of that. Some of the other things I might take for lunch, I've got tuna packs, which I like. They don't have to be refrigerated. They're tough, they're light, they're small. I might take one of those with me. M&M's candies. Again, this would be an entire hunt, so just a small little bit goes with me every day.
This here is why I would have to individually pack these, because inevitably I'd be like day 2. I'm like, I'm out of the M&Ms.
You have to be careful about that. And like I said, what I do is I carry a small assortment of Ziplocs with me. And so what I'll do usually is I'll have a big bag. This is my lunch bag. This lasts me the whole hunt. This is what my lunch goes in every day. So in here, stuff like the peanuts, I put a handful of peanuts in a small bag. I put a handful of M&Ms, probably mix those together. I put half a thing of ramen, and that all goes in this bag. This comes back. So this travels with me every day.
Gotcha.
And then, stuff like granola bars, just quick, easy, light, carry lots of them. What I'm trying to do here is I want stuff I can snack on basically all day. So just like we were talking, breakfast is very quick. Usually just something like a protein bar, maybe a cup of hot coffee or hot chocolate, and I'm gone. I just don't want to be screwing around making a breakfast. But like the lunch stuff, I want enough stuff I can basically snack all day. So this ends up, as I said, being the biggest, heaviest bag of stuff I carry. This is the one that I try to keep tight to my back, about midway up the pack. It's a lot of stuff. I'm just used to doing this system this way, though. So really in the morning, literally, it takes me a couple of minutes to zip through, grab what I want to get, throw it in my lunch bag, and I'm gone. This would, typically breakfast, very quick and easy. I would just say, I might have coffee. I've got instant coffee in here, but usually what it's going to be is some sort of a protein bar, something very quick. Really, I can jump out of bed. I can eat this on the trail as I'm hiking in the morning. I just don't. I'm usually not. I'm used to not eating a ton in the morning.
Yeah.
And usually you want to get going. You want to move fast. So breakfast for me is pretty lightweight.
I will say, have you ever? I can't remember who showed this to me, but it actually works pretty slick. You just pour the hot water
You can,
in this bag?
Yep.
Then you don't have to clean something.
Nothing. And all this stuff, the one thing you really want to avoid is cleaning anything. Like,
Yes.
you want to, nothing. That's like, all you do is you rip the top off of those, stand them up on end, you pour water in them. Yep. The only problem with oatmeal, it's not, it doesn't do that much for you. There's not much nutritional advantage to it. You don't get many calories out of it. So it's, kind of on the bottom of my list. But I do take them along.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's some good stuff. You got coffee, oatmeal, Pro bars, Cliff bars. Lots of good stuff in there.
This was part of my lunch bag. This is the one case where I'll splurge a little bit on heavier stuff. Is I really like a little piece of cheese every day. So I usually take like a smoked Gouda, which I like. It's really tough. The stuff is pretty indestructible. I'll usually buy the ones that have a complete wax wrap around them. I see this as they're heavy. They're small. They're fairly heavy. This is kind of my treat. I look forward to like that little piece of cheese every day. And then usually I'll have some sort of jerky or meat. These are just whitetail little sausages I'll take. But this package works good for this example because I would eat 2 of these a day. And again, it's all part of that, having stuff just to kind of snack throughout the course of the day.
So these are kind of your luxury items?
They would, yeah. Compared to all this other stuff, which is pretty lightweight packaged stuff, these to me they're a little heavier. So they're kind of the treat, I guess you'd call it.
But I would have to imagine probably these are the things that you look forward to.
Yes.
And maybe a little bit of a morale booster.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you get all this packaged stuff, you get tired of it. I'll get to, the end of the day here, I'm doing some sort of a freeze-dried dinner. I will take a freeze-dried dinner for every night, and I've just got a random selection of different brands and models here. Most of these are Mountain House, usually what I had left at the end of the year. Had some Alpine Air here. So I've got one of these per night. By the end of 10 days, I can tell you I can barely stomach eating these things, and I've eaten so much Mountain House. I don't even like looking at. There's a reason that this is what was left in my pantry at the end of the season here. But I do try. It's sort of the main meal of the day. It's a hot meal. It's quick and easy. There's no cleanup. You open this package up. You pour boiling water in it. You're done. You have a little bit of waste. You can buy this stuff in bulk. You can package it yourself in Ziploc bags if you want. I kind of like there's no cleanup to these. You just open the top, you pour water in. You just, I'll usually burn a trash fire at some point through a hunt like this and get rid of what's left of these.
Yeah, but, when these individual packs, I'll make a little trash, and sometimes it's as easy as one of those, the Ziploc bag like you had, or the one with the little closures. I mean, there's not a whole lot of waste here. They all fit in there, like you said.
Right.
Eventually, you can burn them.
If you don't want to burn them, you can compress them into a pretty small thing and bring them out. As I said, these 10 days of eating this stuff, it's tough. My hat's off to anybody that can do it. But we're on a fairly low calorie count here, so I would definitely be trying to eat these. And most of these are 2-portion setups. They're between 6 and 700 calories. But they do get tough to eat. I won't argue that with anybody that's spent time eating freeze-dried dinners.
Well, and I think part of that, we're talking about your pro picks, but one thing, and you do a lot more backpack hunting than I do, Paul, but one thing that I've been trying to do more of is, trying before I go. So buy these meals, find out if you like it. Something might be just taste terrible to you. If something might be too spicy, you're like, whoa, maybe that's fine for at home, but maybe I don't want that on the mountain.
And there's lots of great brands out there too. And by no means as I said, I think the only reason I seem heavy on the Mountain House here, that's the tail end. That's that stuff I've eaten so much of it that there are a lot of other brands that I'll eat first. So, I've just eaten my share of it.
There's lots of good ones, and it's likely that you'll like, this meal from brand X, but this meal from brand Y.
Oh, yeah,
so,
absolutely.
We're talking some brands earlier, like I really like a lot of the off-grid Food Co. options, but there's some great Heather's Choice options. There's Mountain House options that I really, really like. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yep. So it's just going to kind of like give and take.
I completely agree with you. It's a mix up, and if you can try them beforehand, it's highly recommended. Yeah. So that's kind of our food. Again, that's about 1.5 pounds a day of food right there. That's about 16 pounds total of food, roughly about 3,000 calories a day. You're going to live on it. You're not going to get fat on it, but it's going to keep you going. You have to try to drink lots of water. We talked about that. I've got, in addition to the filter, I carry this thing from MSR. This is just a very tough, indestructible water bag.
Yeah.
So this, if I have a water source that's a little ways from my tent, maybe I can go fill this, bring it back to the tent. I've got some water there. The other thing that's very handy about this is the fact that this filter will screw into this. And I can get a source of water, whether it's good or bad, fill this, hang it, put the filter on it, and it'll just sit and it'll drip filter out as it sits there. So I don't have to do anything. I don't have to push a filter.
It's kind of like like a gravity.
It's just
filter.
a gravity feed. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And you can, I've done it. I've been in treeless areas just using my trekking poles, tie the trekking poles together, hang that off them. So it's a nice system. It's just a good way to keep your water source and supply up.
I imagine. Even if you, let's say you had two Nalgene's or something like that, you could filter that much water and then just keep dirty water in here and filter down the road a little bit too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, most of the time, this is water that has not been filtered in here. This is unfiltered water, and then I'll filter it, or I usually keep chemical tablets, and I can treat. I'll have a few of those in here. If I want to be faster and just chemically treat something, I can do that.
It sounded like that last water source you're on. You were telling me about that trip. That's where you want to quadruple up on water treatment?
It was green, full of algae and tadpoles. Yeah, matter of fact, I was pouring water, and I was running water in this through a T-shirt to filter the tadpoles from getting in there because I didn't want the tadpoles clogging up my Sawyer filter. So
we won't cover it now, but
there might still be a couple.
I was going to say we're going to do a 10-minute talk on how to clean your water system.
Bleach.
Okay, copy that.
Small flat. I usually carry a small solar panel. I can charge my phone with it. It's something that's a little bit of a luxury again, but
can you open that up?
Yeah, it's just
I haven't used that before.
Deal like this. Folds out. I can set, if I carry a little battery pack with me, which I have in the pack here, I can leave this out during the day, charge the battery pack. I can keep my phone with me, and then I can just charge the phone at night when I get back off the battery pack, and then this just stays out in the daytime. And there's this one has worked very well for me. It's been very tough. It does a great job. It'll usually put with some sunshine, it'll put a decent charge on a little battery pack. Just set it out during the day when I leave. It stays in camp. The phone is something I usually like to keep with me and keep charged. In a pinch, I can charge the headlamp off of that too. So
okay, cool.
And there's a bazillion of these type of products out on the market. They're not wildly expensive. Some are lighter, heavier, but it's easy to pack. Get down into this is the extra. Again, we talked about why I carry. Usually, I wouldn't need one of these necessarily. One of these would probably get me by. This thing is so efficient on gas. But if it's a cold hunt, if it's going to be snow, wind, rain, I'll bring an extra one of these for that ability to occasionally heat my tent. So that's the logic.
I think that's weight worth carrying.
Yeah, this is primarily what I'll keep. This is my eating utensils is just a plastic bowl and a cup to go with it. This is the battery. There's this all kinds of them. You remember this company? I mean, they've been very good product.
Dark
tough.
Energy Poseidon, kind of a bomb-proof, waterproof
charger.
A
little bit heavy,
job.
But it holds a big charge. It's something that if I get a sunny day and I put that out, that thing will actually charge that thing pretty well.
That's awesome.
It's nice, yeah. All right, we're getting down into the big stuff. So this is my primary tent. This is also part of the Hyperlight system. So this is a 10 by 10. It's a pyramid-style tent. Lots of them. One guy, it's luxury. It's a big tent. I can stand up inside it. It'll fit two guys. All your gear nice. A little bit of bulk to it, but pretty lightweight. Very tough, well-built product. This is a sleeping pad, so X-Pad is the one I've used for years. Very, very tough. Not the lightest one out there, but the material is thick and heavy. I've punched holes in about every type of those air pads that you can imagine. I'm willing to pack a little bit more weight with the X-Pad because the material is a little bit more durable, and this one has lasted quite well. It's I have actually ended up putting a hole in it, but after quite a few years of use, so It's done well. I do carry, I carry a set of poles for this tent. So this is your center pole. You can run it. I can use my walking staffs but usually what I prefer to do is leave this tent set up and take those staffs with me every day. This thing, if I have to, I can use the staffs out during the course of the day someplace. So I prefer to pack a little bit extra weight with a center pole and do this. If you're, and this is typically above timberline. I'm not going to find trees or branches. If you're low, or if you were elk hunting, deer hunting, and you were in trees, you can either just hang the tip of this tent off a low tree branch, or you can cut a staff. You wouldn't, but if you're above timberline, you need something to do. So I bring those along.
I'd be too paranoid of not finding the right spot.
This goes with the food. Actually, it came out of that food bag. So that I'm simulating olive oil. So what I would do is carry 8-10 ounces of olive oil with me. I would try to put an ounce a day into those freeze-dried meals. Not that I love the taste of olive oil, but it's, as you know, Mark, it's a very high-calorie food. It's about 250 calories per ounce, so it's almost higher than anything else. If you dislike the taste of olive oil, by the time you mix it into a big thing of freeze, you barely know it's there, and it gives you a nice bump in the calories. So it's the only thing I warn people about is if you do use it and you want to be absolutely sure it's in something very tough. You can see this is a hard, tough container. If that stuff leaks in your pack, you will be absolutely sick. I mean, it will make a greasy, slimy, horrible mess. So if you go that route and you want to use it, pack it in something very tough and durable, and be careful where you put it.
Make sure that lid works.
This, by the way, this is part of the Javelin bipod. So these are carbon fiber. These are extension legs. They will run off of this bipod, and I can, as you can see, I can extend the height out.
Okay.
And these will come. So it's as you can see, there's no weight to them. It's a way to get a little more utility out of that bipod. And then we're really kind of down to the bottom of the pack here. Again, another dry bag here, very lightweight. A down puffy jacket. Don't go on any of these hunts without one of these. It's like, this too, Mark. Those things are the most valuable piece of sleep in them. I mean, they're incredibly warm, incredibly lightweight. That thing compresses down just tiny, and it's just an invaluable piece of gear. Sleeping bag.
I concur.
This is one from Mountain Hardware. Phantom, I think you and I actually bought these same bags.
Yeah.
Under, was it 2 pounds, I think. Very, very small, lightweight. It's been a great bag. It's down. It's the waterproof treated down. I've had great luck with it. I've been down to 10 degrees at night with it. I might keep some of the merino wool stuff on at night, but it does great. I usually carry a little inflatable pillow, very lightweight. So that's pretty much it. You have tent, sleeping bag, pad, pillow. The only other thing I might throw in here, if I've got it, I usually carry there it is. I'll have a very lightweight piece of plastic ground cover.
Okay.
That's a floorless tent, so there's nothing under there. I'll just put cover half of it with just underneath where I'm going to sleep and stay with it. So
okay, gotcha. It keeps your, if you slide off your pad a little bit, your bag hits. It's not going to be in the dirt or
right. It's just, there's almost no weight penalty to it all.
You pointed out something earlier, Paul, that I think is something to keep in mind too. And I think I get hot and cold easy, like boom, boom. I think other people are maybe more stable, but thinking of your clothing kit as potentially part of your sleep system.
Yeah, that's really something to do. Think of it all as one system, and that way you're not going to lug along a heavier sleeping bag than what you really need to take. We're getting down to the bottom of the pack, so I usually, this you can see, very lightweight piece of closed cell foam. I usually, I might sit on it in the tent. That goes out with me everyday glassing. Sit on it for a glassing pad, quick and easy. The only other thing, there is a hydration bladder in here that's tied into the pack. If I were starting out from a trailhead, I would not be going with all these containers full of water. This would not have water in it. That MSR bag would not have water in it. I would probably put a quart, 2 quarts into that, into the bladder that's in here. But I don't want to, usually I'm going to look at my route, and hopefully I've got a route plan where I'm going to hit water on the way as I go in someplace. If it were just absolutely dry, arid country, obviously you would have to take more water in with you initially. But again, I'm kind of modeling this on a trip to Alaska we did a couple of years ago, and we basically followed a stream all the way up. So we had an ongoing source of water as we went. So it wasn't, you really didn't need to carry much water in the pack with you. And of course, water is very, very heavy. So you want you'd rather not carry a lot of water if you can help it.
Yep,
So.
and I would think there, part of your thinking is, so water bladders are great. They're easily accessible. You got the tube. I know when I use one, I drink more frequently.
Yes. Yeah, and that's a problem I have too. If I just rely on something like a Nalgene, I don't drink enough water.
But at some point, when your pack is fully loaded with 65 pounds of stuff, that bladder can be buried and a little bit difficult to get to. So you kind of start with the bladder, and then, as you go up, maybe you need to do a quick fill or something like that. Then you can get to your easy access Nalgene.
That's where, again, having something like this is just, it gives you a lot of versatility. It's quick and easy to do. You can use it to fill the bladder if you have to. Like I said, I usually keep that up in that top pouch. I am going to run the hose out of the bladder so I can try to be drinking as I'm hiking. But then anytime I would stop, that thing's quick to get a hold of, and then I can, use chemical pills or Sawyer if I feel maybe the water doesn't even need to be filtered. Run into that too sometimes. So
Yep.
And I think that's it for inside the pack. The only other thing I have in the pack here is on the side pouch is where I'll put a spotting scope.
Yes.
So here I've got one of our Razor 65 millimeters. Good kind of middle option. We have some great choices. If you're really traveling flyweight, the 50 Razor is a great little spotter. I use it all the time too. If you've got a partner, you might consider going with a bigger 85 millimeter spotter. Our Razor 85s are great. I just picked this one because I've had great luck. It's a great product. It's kind of a good matchup for this, but a couple of different options there too. So
absolutely. Well, Paul, we've covered everything that's in your pack as part of your sheep kit. Now, there's some things that you're going to have on your person, including your the implement to actually hopefully shoot a sheep at the end of the hunt.
Let's touch on that quickly. And I mentioned the Kafaru gun bearer. We just did a segment on carriers, but so my rifle I'll carry on the side. The buttstock goes in this. The muzzle clamps to a little strap up here on your shoulder strap, and we'll go right into that as I do this. So. All right, so I'm going to just cover what I would be wearing as I went up the trail. So this is going to be sort of the rest of the weight. I have just a very nice custom built rifle here. Weighs about 8 pounds. Very nice shooting rifle. I'm running one of our new Razor LHT 4.5 to 22 first focal plane scopes. Great rifle. This is a 500 or 600 yard capable in shooting mid-sized game if the weather conditions are right. So. Just dive right into this. So first and foremost, good heavy pair of boots. Some guys will prefer lighter boots. I've had great luck with the Kenetrek brand. You can see those have a lot of miles on them. They've worked very well for me. They're waterproof, good ankle support. This is a really heavy pack, so I prefer to have a little more ankle support on that. A lot of this country that we're talking about here, you're doing a lot of steep side hilling. Again, ankle support is nice. But, whatever brand of boots you wear, break them in, try them out, put some miles on them. Don't go out with them brand new.
Very good advice. I've done the other way a couple times, Paul, and literally paid the price the first day of the hunt and made the rest of the time miserable.
You don't want to find that out. That's a key piece of gear right there. Be sure they're comfy and fit you and they're broken in. Get into binos here. I tend to prefer fairly sleek, light bino cases. I've got one here from Stone Glacier. It's just very minimalistic. My preference is I don't like to carry a lot of stuff attached onto the bino. I don't like having a huge amount of bulk. I know I'm probably not most guys I think tend to carry more stuff on them. User preference. Again, this is going to be on the front of you. I carry the bino in here. I've got one of our Razor UHD 1042s in here. Great high-end bino. Great match for the Razor spotter. This, of course, is going to carry on your chest. So this is something guys have lots of options. There are lots of cases out there. I by no means want to tell everybody this is the best case. I mean, we've got some great cases here at Vortex. There are a dozen brands out there building really nice cases. Cases are one of those things that there are a lot of personal preference on. So that's something, get out and explore. Pick out one you like, has the features you like, whether you want to carry lots of stuff on it. I'll let the users make that choice.
But, I mean, that is one thing where you want 10 different opinions on a single
We know
thing,
that, yeah.
it's bino case.
It really
10
is.
people get 10 different answers.
Yeah, I mean everything from covers to straps to accessories to look. So yeah, that's a wide open topic.
The lid opens this way.
Yeah.
No, the lid opens that way. No, the strap tightens this way. No, the strap tightens that way.
Last piece of hard gear would be a pair of walking sticks.
Mm-hmm.
These always come with me. These are Black Diamonds. I've had them for years. They've done well for me. There are certainly lighter weight models out there than these. These have been tried and true. I've had them a long, long time, put a lot of miles on them, so I'm not in a hurry to trade them out. But I use them all the time. They're a great product. They'll make climbing easier. They'll make downhilling easier. You can shoot off of them. I can support this tarp and make basically a tent at any time during the day with them. I consider those an invaluable, necessary piece of gear. So
that's 100% bring.
Yep. And then I'm gonna hit on what I might be wearing for apparel here. I do have a pair of quick. These are just handy around my neck, so it's a very fast, easy way if I get a shot. I have some ear protection. Have a pair of just a lightweight, sort of stretchy fabric pants from First Light. These have done a great job for me. I've had them. This is the third pair of these I've had. I love them. They're long. They fit well. They repel water pretty well. So it's been a great pair. I'll usually have some sort of lightweight merino top. This is one from Kuiu, but this is kind of the top I would wear. Pair of merino underwear, pair of light wool socks, lightweight belt to go with that. I would usually take gaiters with me, so I have a pair of First Light gaiters. Usually I would put these on to, if I was taking off and it was 90 degrees or something, I'm not going to put gaiters on.
Yeah.
I'm sort of looking at this from that Alaska trip profile.
Yep.
Might be wading through a bunch of wet brush initially, wet grass. I was hunting on Kodiak Island this fall. It was full of just brushy, soaking wet grass. So a good pair of gaiters is valuable, and you can, that would go right along with the boots wearing on the way in. Baseball hat, lightweight hat. Have a pair of sunglasses with me. And if it was a cool day going up, I might have an additional very lightweight fleece on top. If it was warm going up, this would probably be stuffed in my pack somewhere. But so between this and the blue bag I showed you, that is the apparel. That's what I've got. And as you pointed out, at night I can sleep in this. I can sleep in this. That long pair of underwear, I can sleep in that. So I'm not going to get
sleep
cold
in the
at
puffy
night.
jacket. Throw
sleep
the hood
in
up.
The puffy jacket. It's plenty of stuff. You have to. If you get wet, that's a concern. So one of the things is be aware of that. Don't put your rain gear on after you've been soaked out. Think ahead. You want to, you do have a fairly minimal selection of clothes here, so you want to keep it dry if you can. So that's why, again, the rain gear was right where I could get at it, handy on the.
And I'd add to that, and this is more of a do as I say, not as I do for me personally. But I always, I need to be better at forcing myself to start colder than is comfortable, because inevitably I start moving, and then I get hot. And then I'm sweaty, but then I want to get somewhere, and I don't want to take the time to change out of it because I want to get there. And then, that can be as bad as getting wet from the outside.
It is, yeah. And that, back in the days of guiding sheep hunters, that was a constant thing coaching guys on, and usually you start out every day climbing. As soon as you're starting to get warm, start taking layers off. Don't wait till you're soaked in sweat to take your layers off. As you're climbing, you should, if you start out, it's a cold morning, you should be starting to peel layers fairly quickly going up. And it's, don't hesitate to take the time to stop a few minutes, pull the top off. I talked about those Kuiu long underwear with the zip offs. That's the place where those things are invaluable. That's one of the first things is, long underwear on the bottoms. They're a pain in the butt to take off otherwise. And so what guys will do, they'll tempted to keep climbing, and they're sweating and they get soaked in sweat. Those things you can stop, zip, they're gone. They're off, they're in your pack, done. So it's, again, that's a product I really like.
Awesome. Well, Paul, thank you so
much.
It's
It's quite a pile of gear here, but this is it. This is everything that there is.
Simple.
You could take this. You could go up the mountain and you'd be good for 10 days, other than finding a source of water. You start out with some water, but that as I'm looking at routes and possible campsites, that's one of the first things I'm always looking at is what's my water source. That's almost the dictating factor in where I'm going to head and try to camp. Is there a water source nearby? So
Yep. And that's, the animals need those. They're better at, making do with, probably less than what we might need.
Right.
But, even finding game, you want to have that water. And like you said, you're not going to survive up there without it. So you better pick a route that you have access to it in some capacity.
And, of course, this is, again, we talked about this is sort of modeled after an Alaskan hunting trip, but obviously if you were hunting in the desert Southwest, very different situation. Water is not going to be something you're easily going to find. It's going to be a different animal there. Your whole entire hunt might be planned and packed very differently from this in country like that because of the water requirements. So
for sure,
anyway,
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Paul, thank you so much for going over your Pro Picks 10-day sheep kit. I definitely consider you a pro. You're one of the people in the hunting world that I look up to, that I definitely follow your advice and heed what you say. This is an example of that right here. This was a 10-minute talk. Now, I'll say again.
How long did we end up at?
Was in the past tense. Usually, MC Ryan, he's got a screen up that turns red once we exceed 10 minutes.
It starts flashing.
Yeah, it's just blank now. It's like it's gone. It's gone dark. It's black. It's not even on. He's given up. But a lot of great information here. We hope you guys enjoy it. Hopefully, you can learn from it. I know I have. And what are your tips for a 10-day sheep hunt?
I'm sure everybody has some great advice to add to this too, and people have all different kinds of gear that they've tried and used and had good luck with. I'm by no means saying this is all the best gear in the world to use or people should run out and buy it. I can say I've had great luck with the products here. They've been tried and true. They've got me through some very tough situations. It's stuff that I do rely on, and I count on it. So
no, absolutely, and you can ask people, 10 people in this world what their kit looks like. You're going to see some similarities. You're going to see some differences. And what I always try to do is I have my own experiences and my own gear.
Pick out the valuable pieces from all of them.
Yep, yeah. Exactly. So, and I think a lot of people will be able to glean a lot from this. So thanks, everybody, for listening. Like we said, we hope you enjoyed it. Let us know what you're using, and we'll catch you on the next one.
All right. See you.